We're in South Korea to drive this, the new Hyundai Ioniq 6 electric sedan. Built on the same electric vehicle architecture as the Ioniq 5, it's coming to Australia early 2023, priced from around $80,000. This is the dual motor variant, which has a motor in the front and the rear, producing 239 kilowatts, 605 Newton meters, good for 0 to 100 in about 5.1 seconds. In this video, we're going to jump behind the wheel and give you some first drive impressions. So make sure you hit like and subscribe. And what do you think of the styling? Leave us a comment with your thoughts on the Streamliner styling effect. For now, let's get behind the wheel. So first impressions of the Ioniq 6 are very positive. You're sitting in this nice open airy interior with all these screens. There's 4 screens going on, which is interesting. And initially you're taken by the camera side mirrors, which are very interesting. Novel, a little bit weird at first, but once you get used to them, they are pretty good. And once you trust them, they're a little bit better in traffic than conventional mirrors. And that's owing to these little lines that show up as you change lanes that help you gauge the depth. That's something that's hard to do with a video screen. But otherwise, it's very quiet, it's comfortable. The ride quality is a little bit on the firm side. You wouldn't call it plush, you wouldn't call it cosseting, or it's certainly not like it has air suspension. There is definitely a sporting feel to the ride quality. But I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable necessarily. It just makes you want to get out to a twisty road and dig in and see what's there. And when you do, you find a car that's very competent dynamically, but it is heavy. As you push on, it starts to work its tyres really hard, especially its front tyres. You're aware of the weight constantly, it limits change of direction. The weight is very low in the car, of course, but it still blunts its dynamic ability somewhat. And the brakes are going to be very smelly after a hard drive in a car like this. One of my favourite things about this car is though it's dual motor all-wheel drive, but get to the right menu. It takes a good 8 menus to get through to it, but you can change the drive line just with a prod of your index finger. You can go from two-wheel drive, rear drive only, to permanent all-wheel drive or auto all-wheel drive, which is rear drive until it needs to bring in the front motor for extra traction. And this car does have amazing traction, even in rear drive actually. So a question a lot of people will be asking is, does this car have a rear drive character in rear drive mode? And the answer is yes, it does. On a twisty road, it is very heavy and soft, and that does blunt its dynamic ability. But in rear drive mode, with the ESC in a reduced setting, you can invite the rear end into play using the throttle. You can get a bit of throttle steer. I don't know if you can do full-blown drifting, but it kind of feels like a BMW 330i with an open diff, if that kind of makes sense. The acceleration is as you'd expect. It's explosive. It doesn't hit you violently like a Porsche Taycan, but it's still enough initially, the initial punch to, show off to your passengers. And you might be able to hear the fake interior speaker noise that's coming through. It's very loud, although you can adjust it. There's 4 levels of adjustment, including off. And it is kind of nice just to turn that fake noise off and just enjoy one of the main perks of electric motoring, which is nice, quiet driving. And it is a very peaceful car to drive. It's very quiet, smooth, relaxing, very easy to drive in traffic. You can punch into gaps using the electric motor, like so, and it's really fun. It's fun in an electric car kind of way. It's got that punch of the electric motors, especially from a standstill. The acceleration does taper off a little tiny bit. It only has 239 kilowatts, but it's still punchy enough to startle your passengers and get them to buy into the electric revolution themselves. Of course, hooning around will rapidly deplete the range, something to be aware of. So what's the final verdict on this car? It's impressive, it's really impressive. The Ioniq 5, of course, almost won Wheels Car of the Year. Its stablemate, the Kia EV6 did, and that's built on the same eGMP electric architecture as this car. But in this car, the weight is a lot lower, which gives it more dynamic chops. It's more fun, it's better in the corners, it's still heavy, it's still soft, but it's better than the Ioniq 5 to drive, more fun. We'll reserve judgment until we get this car back onto Australian roads, but at least with our short drive here in South Korea, it's very positive. It's fun, it's fast, it's interesting, it's quirky, it's high tech. It's an amazing way to join the electric vehicle revolution. So there you have it, the new Hyundai Ioniq 6. An amazing bit of kit from Hyundai, bristling with technology and really good to drive, surprisingly fun. Look for it early 2023, priced from around $80,000 like we said, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Would you drive an electric car? Would you drive this four-door sedan? Let us know in the comments below.